history is one thing I get to feature on the show, but another is learning content that addresses a lot of deficit and lack, especially amongst students of color. And one of those things is numeracy, being able to do math in a proficient way and being able to engage math mentally by concept and by computation, just being able to engage it mentally. So I've designed a lot of games and puzzles and problem sets. This one is called Digital Display, and it was born by accident, like a lot of things that I end up developing, because I have a digital clock in my classroom as a backup to the analog clock, because the analog clock battery always runs out. On one particular day, though, my digital clock malfunctioned, and it was 9:15, but the clock showed 3:15 because one of the bars was out, one of the vertical bars was out. So I said, wow, you know what? That would make a neat game, man. That would make a neat game if you wrote a problem like the problem I have here, and you make one of the bars go out, or you put one of the bars in the wrong place, and you tell them, hey, this problem as I have written it is wrong. Fix it and make it right. So the original problem here is 915 plus 499 equals 514. Now, if you're swift with math, you know 915 plus 499, that's about 1400. So if I'm saying it's about 500, and my challenge is, well, move one of these bars so that the problem that's incorrect becomes correct. What you do with this one is, that number that's 915, you take this bar and you put it here and turn that 9 into a 0, and that makes 15 plus 499, which is 514. Now the student that solved this, you see the date there, student did this, I think, Wednesday in my classroom, student that I was meeting for the first time. This is how I introduced myself to him, and he was pretty swift with it. But what he said when he first read the problem, he said, hey, 900 plus 500, that equals about 15,000. And you'd be surprised at the number of times that has happened to me since I became a teacher. Now they know, but they probably know it really is 1500, but all the math is done on the calculator, on the computer, and via multiple choice now. So a student could choose the right answer, but if you ask them to read it to you, they might not be able to read it to you. And that leads to an interesting conversation that I've had with tons of them who say, hey, well, it doesn't matter, man. That's a detail. I said, well, let me tell you why that's a detail you want to pay attention to. If you and me are doing some work, right? Let's say you did some work for me, and I asked you how much money I owed you, and I owed you $15,000, and you said I owed you $1,500. You about to hand me $13,000 because I'm probably gonna write you a check for what you asked for. That's why that detail matters, man. And the reverse of that is true as well. You're about to buy a car, and the car costs 1,500, and you write the check for 15,000, and you say, man, why are you sweating the zero? Well, the zero matters, man. The zero matters. So those are the kinds of things you can deal with in a game format that's relational, and you might get away with stepping to them about doing stuff like that in a pleasant and non-aggressive manner. Where if I'm actually teaching that on the whiteboard, I'm not sure I could have that conversation the same way. So that's why I like using the games. I get to the same place now, but I hopefully get there with me and that student being on the right side of each other, as opposed to the confrontations that sometimes occur when the old school is trying to tell the new school, yo, young player, you can't do it like that, man. You're gonna get got when you do it like that.